Hey, you guys, welcome back to Racket City Yardstead. If you're new, I'm Sarah. Welcome. So, today was one of those days. Do you know what I'm talking about when I say I just had no plan? And it's close to dinner time, and I just didn't know what we were going to have. And so I went rifling through the cabinets and the freezers and the pantry and took stock of what ingredients I had and then just sort of came up with a plan on the fly. And I'm sure you've all been there. That's why I like to keep my pantry stocked and my freezer stocked and not have to run to the store. But so, taking stock of everything that I had, I decided we're going to make a one pot taco and rice bake. So, I have fresh peppers coming in from the garden still. I still have some of my onions from this spring, canned black beans, canned salsa from last year, rice, and I have ground beef quick thawing back here. And so I just thought I would show you guys how I make this. I've seen plenty of taco rice bakes before, but most of them have you cook the rice separately. And I don't know about you guys, but I want to do as few dishes as possible. And so I find that I'm able to put my rice right into the pot and add some liquid and cook it all together in that pot. And then we don't have to do as many dishes, which, let's be real, who wants to do more dishes if they don't have to? So anyway, the first thing that I need to get going on is chopping up my onions and peppers, and then we can start getting everything thrown into that skillet over there. So if you don't have fresh onions and peppers, this would be a great place to use one of those mixed bags you can get in the freezer section at grocery stores. We can get, a couple colors of peppers and onions all chopped up, and that would make this an even faster meal because you wouldn't have to do this part. But my garden is still giving, so we're gonna use the things coming out of it. You guys will have to tell me if you have go-to meals for nights like this, where you didn't have a plan and you just need to throw something together really quickly. I know for a lot of people, they depend on fast food for something like this, but with my food sensitivities, that's not an option. So I do generally try and avoid having those nights where I don't have a plan. But every once in a while, you just need something that you can throw together on a whim. Most of these are sweet peppers. I actually stepped on this poor pepper and had to remove part of it. But I am going to throw part of a poblano in, and this is part of an Anaheim because I thought just a little bit of heat from this would be good. I did want to mention, I won't add it because I can't have it, but if you had frozen or canned corn, or even fresh corn, I suppose, if you have that where you live, that would be a great addition here as well. But like I said, we can't have it, so we just don't add it. But if you've watched other videos I've made and you happen to make any of that cherry tomato and corn salsa, you could use that salsa in this recipe, and the corn would already be in your salsa. So I'm just gonna keep chopping up my peppers, and I will meet you guys back here once we're ready to get everything into the skillet. I've got my veggies all chopped, and so we can get our ground beef into our skillet. I'm using grass-fed ground beef. It's a little bit leaner, so I am going to add just a little bit of fat to my pan. And then grab my beef and get this in here. If you have Aldi where you live, because I know not everybody does, you keep an eye on their weekly specials, when they have family packs of the grass-fed ground beef, it's by far the best price I've ever found for grass-fed ground beef. So just a tip. My favorite tool for ground meat. So before I start breaking my ground beef up, I am going to add some seasonings to it. This would be a great place to use a taco seasoning packet. Or if you have your own homemade taco seasoning you like. I don't typically mix taco seasoning up. I just add some spices. So far I've added garlic and cumin. We're going to add some oregano. Some smoked paprika. Some chili powder. Some pepper. Finally, some salt. So I typically don't buy taco seasoning packets. For me, largely because most brands have corn in them. And so I just got out of the habit. I did recently find that my local store has a really reasonably priced taco seasoning packet that has, I think it's tapioca starch instead of corn. So that's really nice. I think, I might be wrong, but I think that a lot of companies are starting to figure out that people don't want corn in every single thing they eat. And so there's starting to be a shift where there's not quite as much. I know for years I couldn't buy shredded cheese, pre-shredded cheese, because it had cornstarch in it. And now most of the pre-shredded cheeses have either tapioca or potato starch in them. So again, that's nice. I still prefer to grate my own cheese. I just got in the habit of it, but sometimes for convenience sake, it's just nice to be able to buy something. So there's a chunk of my hamburger, not thawed, that's gonna have to cook down. That is what happens when you didn't plan ahead for dinner, right? But that's not a problem when we're working with ground meat. So we'll just get this cooked down. And once this is all nice and browned, we will add in those peppers and onions we chopped up. Our beef is nice and browned, so we're gonna add these peppers and onions in, and we will cook them probably about 5 minutes, just until they start to get soft, because they will continue to cook once we add our rice in and our liquid and let it cook the rice. So they don't need to be fully cooked. But, oh, all those colors together are so pretty. So I will meet you guys back here in about 5 minutes once these have started to soften, and we'll add some more ingredients. Our onions and peppers are cooking down nicely, so I'm going to add in a pint of salsa. You can use whatever kind of salsa you want. I am using some salsa verde. And then we're also going to add in a pint of black beans. If you have store-bought beans, just use a can. We'll just stir these in. So this is where I'm going to add my rice. I am adding a cup of rice and about a cup and a half of water. I'm really just following my directions on my rice here. So I would recommend the same for you, but this is just how I do it. So we're gonna get our liquid in. If you wanted, this would be a great place to add some broth, or something like a tomato juice would probably be really good. But I'm just using water today. So I'm gonna get this all incorporated nicely. And then I'm gonna pop a lid on here and cook it for the recommended time of my rice, which is 15 minutes. So I will turn this down to a simmer. And let this cook. And again, if you like corn in something like this, now is when you would have added the corn. So this just needs about 15 minutes to finish cooking. And then I like to top it off with cheese and throw it under the broiler. Our rice is finished cooking, and you can see it's all cooked up nicely, very casserole-like. So I did have to add an extra 5 minutes. The salsa I used was quite runny, and so it just needed to cook a little bit longer. But that is one of those things, it depends on your ingredients a little bit. So I would just start with the time that your rice calls for and add a little bit of time if necessary. But now we're gonna add some cheese to the top and get this under the broiler. Remember when I said sometimes I like to have shredded cheese for convenience? This is one of those times. So just add as much or as little as you want. Now, if you wanted your actual rice casserole to be creamy, you could add some sour cream and mix it in at this point before adding the cheese. So this is kind of versatile. You can just adjust it to your preferences. Sure, it's all good and cheesy. I'm just gonna get this under the broiler. It smells so good. The cheese is all melty and brown. This is gonna be a nice hearty dinner. All that's left to do is dish some up and give it a taste test. Ooh, try not to make a mess on the table. I'm gonna add some sour cream to the top. Dig in. Yep, this is really good. One dish, didn't have to dirty up a whole bunch of dishes. The rice cooks just fine in the casserole, so I don't see the reason to dirty up another dish. But I hope you guys will give this a try. I hope this will inspire you to dig through your pantry and see what you have and what kind of meals you can make with what you already have on hand. And if you already have meals like that that you love, please hit me up with a comment and tell me what they are and why it's your favorite. So thanks for hanging out with me today. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.